Sorry, tell a big intro, please, if you don't mind.
If your lashes are a bit more luscious today, you may well have our next guest to thank. She's the mother of makeup who's telling her amazing life story in her new book, Still Bobbi, which is out now. So turn that frown upside down and say hello to Bobbi Brown.
Come on, guys. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Hey,
Energy.
Bobbi, so what, now what?
So what, now what?
So what, now what's in the
Right,
book?
right.
Tell
You
us
know
about
what?
So what, now what?
It just means that things happen and people complain how something can't be done. And it's like, guys, come on, what are we going to do now? We didn't have money to promote one of our big supermodels when we signed them at the old brand. Okay, I said, there's this new thing called Facebook Live. Let's do it. Everyone's like, what's that? Just let's do it. It was great, except there was no Wi-Fi. But besides that, we figured it out.
And it was the same for you in TikTok as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, really.
Tell us
Same
about you and
thing.
TikTok. Come
Same
on.
thing.
We'll
It
go
was-
back in a minute, but we'll start.
Yeah. So, there was a lot of articles out there, Bobbi Brown's 64 TikTok star. So so basically this friend of ours, Gary Vaynerchuk, who's very well known as this like marketing guy, and he's this crazy guy. You and him would get along really well. Said, stop what you're doing, go on TikTok now. And so we just opened up the phone, went on TikTok. He told us to hire a team, but we just opened the phone and did it ourselves. And it went viral, and we kept doing it, and it quadrupled our business. And then we were out of stock of product.
Right.
So what, now what?
And this is new. This is the new business. God, there's so much to talk about in here.
Yeah.
You're definitely until 10. There's no doubt about that. And you might go until 11. It's not even my show from 10 till 11. You went to dance class with Madonna?
I was early in the 80s in New York City, and there was this girl sitting in the back, dancing in the back that we couldn't stop staring at. She was such a good dancer. And then one day she didn't show back up in class. Mm-hmm. And then this movie, Desperately Seeking Susan, came out, and we realized it was Madonna. We didn't know it was Madonna.
Yeah.
So it was Madonna.
It was Madonna. And you obviously, she was around a lot. You were around a lot. You were at the peak of your powers. You're still at the peak of your powers. The book is bookended almost, not quite, because it's a bit. It is at the end, but it's sort of a little bit in at the beginning, by 2 dinners with the same guy. Tell us who the guy is. Tell us where the dinners took place. Tell us all about the first one and a little bit about the second one without spoiling it.
The first dinner
Who
was
the guy?
Leonard Lauder, who unfortunately recently passed away, the son of Estee Lauder, who came and bought my first brand, Bobbi Brown Cosmetics. He was a mentor. He was a friend. He was a father figure. He just taught me so much, gave me so much. And then I stayed after we sold our company 22 years. I left, / got fired. You could read the book and make your own decision. I got fired. And didn't talk to him for 7 years. And then I reached out to him on his 90th birthday, and he said, let's get together for lunch. He was not in great health. I went there, and, some amazing things happened. And also there's things I will never talk about what he said.
Back to the first dinner.
Yeah.
So you said, I'll go and see this guy. Company's not for sale. That's probably what they want to do. We're out selling his products. We're out creating him. He can't hold a light to us, but that's his problem, not ours. But we'll go and see him, pay him respect. You want to meet him anyway. He's interesting.
Sure.
He's the son of a legend. You then found out he's a legend himself. So you go to his apartment.
Yes.
Picture the scene.
His apartment. So I was living in the suburbs with my young children and my husband of New Jersey, drove into the city, got dropped off, probably put a really nice outfit on. And we walked around his apartment. He said hello, very tall man. I'm very little girl. And he says, you're beating us in the stores. We want to buy you. I said, we're not for sale. But he said, let's just talk. And I look up, and there are Dubuffays and Picassos. And I thought it was in a museum. It was his home. And I remember the first thing I said to him, you raised your children here? He said it was a little messier then, but yes. Yeah. And then we went up to the rooftop and had this glorious dinner with him and his wife, and I forgot that I was sitting with American royalty. They were down to earth, they were normal, they were real. They were the kind of people that I wanted to know and wanted to be.
But also, he'd done his research, hadn't he?
Oh, he knew everything. He literally, whether he or his team, he knew exactly what I'd like to eat for dinner.
Yeah.
He knew I was a health fanatic. And he basically turned to me and he said, we could grow your business and you could do what's important to you, which he said, be a mother and a wife. and do all the creative things, and we could do everything else.
And I'm not going to say what happened during the second day. It was beautiful, though. It's I mean, it's very poetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And so he came after you. He pursued you because of the products that you were selling in, first of all, a department store called Bergdorf. So tell us about the Bergdorf deal. If you tell us what you want. Tell us as much or as little as you want about any of these questions, by the way. You can say pass, move on. It's fine.
Yeah. No, the Bergdorf deal, we launched 10 lipsticks at Bergdorf Goodman. I had made lipsticks because I met a chemist, and I started selling them out of my house when I was a working makeup artist. I was, in the fashion business working with all the fabulous photographers and models. And I met a woman at a party in New York, and I asked her what she did, and she told me she was a cosmetics buyer for Bergdorf. I said, "Oh, I've got these lipsticks." That's how I got into Bergdorf Goodman.
Yeah, and then she apologized a couple of days later.
She said, "I can't do it." She called and said, "We have too many things." And I happened to have been at a catalog shoot for Saks, another department store. I was showing the creative people what I was working on. I said, "We're going into Bergdorf." They say, No, come pitch us. We want it." And so when she called back and said Bergdorf can't take it, my heart sunk in my stomach. I don't know what got into me. I picked up the phone. I called her back. I left a message. I said, "It's no problem because Saks wants it." How I even thought of that at this young age. And she called back, "We'll take it."
Because you leveraged a little white lie.
I kind of did.
That was fine.
But it wasn't really a lie. They said they wanted it.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, you massaged it a little bit. You just accessorized it. You
Exactly.
TV Plus it. You just set the plus on the end there. That's all right. It's 2.0.
And by the way, I would have gone to Saks to pitch them if they said no.
Right, and the story, once you were involved with Estee Lauder, it went really well. And, things go slow until they go fast, and things go well until they don't anymore. And it's all in the book, isn't it?
It is. It's all in the book.
You start with the wonder years. The wonder years then evolve into the glory years. And then there's a title of the book, which I can't say because we're live on the radio. If it's a podcast, I could say
Something happens.
Yeah, it starts with shirt and ends in it happens, and you're so candid about it all, and you're so vulnerable about it all. Stephen and Roz, and your first partners, and it's all in. It's great.
You really read the book?
Oh my! I'm not joking. I love the book.
Yeah.
I said to people today, we only have people on we really like or we think we might like.
Right.
And then I only say books are great if they are, because I know that people buy them off the back of the show.
Right.
This is, if people want a bit of self-help, they want a bit of intrigue, they want a bit of glam. This is it's like a compendium of all the best books we've ever had.
Yeah, I've had this really interesting life. Like, I was in the motorcade during, when Obama got sworn in as president, because I was doing Jill Biden's makeup.
Yeah.
I'm a makeup artist, okay? There's a lot of makeup artists out there. I had dinner at Mick Jagger's house in the UK because I had done his then girlfriend's fashion show. And I find myself, I'm with Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
I was in a car with Bruce Springsteen. And he was on the phone talking to Bob Dylan. And I'm just like, my mind is blown.
And you're Bobbi Brown.
I know, but I'm a makeup artist.
No, I know. But then he's a guitar player.
Right.
It depends, doesn't it? You can never. I know you can never say this about yourself. And
never. I don't feel that way about
imposter
myself.
syndrome at its healthiest zenith. I think if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're probably mad.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's why the book is called Still Bobbi.
Right.
Because all these things that happen, I'm excited. It's fantastic. I go home.
Yeah.
I put my pajamas on or my, sweat clothes. I got my kids, my husband, and I'm happy. It's where I really belong.
It's Superman. You're a superwoman and it is Superman. It's fantastic. Without Ali MacGraw, this doesn't really happen.
Right.
Tell us about Ali MacGraw.
Well, as a middle schooler growing up in Chicago, where all my friends were these tall, blonde cheerleaders, and I was a short, dark-haired, insecure young woman, let me say that. And I never thought I was pretty. And I remember buying a book that Cheryl Tiegs was on the cover. It was all her health secrets. I asked my dad to buy it for me. I followed every secret in that book. I didn't look any different when I finished. But then one day I went to see Love Story, and I looked up on the screen and saw Ali MacGraw, dark hair parted in the middle, strong eyebrows, freckles, and just hardly any makeup.
Yeah.
And I looked up and I was like, oh, I could be pretty too.
Yeah.
And that really changed everything
Well,
for
there's
me.
some photographs of you and her in the book, and they're not dissimilar. No, and because I remember when we first all saw Ali MacGraw on the silver screen, she was different. She looked different because she was just beautiful.
Yeah.
There was just nothing in the way.
Right.
There's nothing in between. There was no cell.
Right. No, there wasn't.
There was the no makeup look right there. so that's your mum.
Yes.
She was very glamorous. You say in the book she was the most glamorous woman I've ever known.
Right.
She looks after her hair. The crazy, was it the pineapple diet? What was it called?
The pineapple diet, the sexy pineapple diet.
And it was actually called capital S, capital P, capital D, sexy pineapple diet. What the
Yes.
heck was that?
I have no idea. You just eat pineapple. You eat pineapple.
Only 2 days a week.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the rules. I mean, she used to give me HOV in the morning.
Right.
Honey, oil, and vinegar
Oh
shots.
my God, HOV.
It was
yeah, come on.
terrible. Terrible.
I always pick out my favourite page in the books that I
Uh-huh.
read, and your book is page 41 has been awarded
Uh-huh.
this particular award in your book. I've got to find it here, as you can see. Everything is all over the place. Let me find it. 45, 41, 15. Where is it? It's here somewhere. I'll tell you what. We could just rewind quickly to page 8 and to your granddad, who sailed on his own from Ukraine to USA to start a generational success story that he had no idea was going to unfold, and he ended up selling cars to Al Capone.
Right.
Speak to that briefly, if you don't mind. Well, I look for page 41.
Well, he sold cars to a lot of people, but one of the people, was Al Capone. He sold cars to Al Capone and Meyer Lansky.
Okay, got it.
Which another gangster.
Yeah, got it. Here we go. Actually, that's not it. No. I love, my favourite line in the book is this one. We all have these threads running through our lives. So many people focus on what they didn't get from their upbringing. But what about what we did get from our upbringing? Such a different mindset, isn't it?
You know what? When I wrote this book, the publisher said, let's talk about the complicated upbringing you had.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it wasn't that complicated. It was wonderful. Yes, my mother was complicated and had mental illness.
Yeah.
And I had a brother that was mentally ill, but I had a loving, wonderful upbringing. That's what I remember.
When I came home from school, here we go, page 41, best page in the book. Not that it's a competition that needs to be won or held. When I came home from school, I realised that I just didn't love being in school. I announced to my mum that I wanted to drop out of college. It was fun but boring, and I couldn't just sit in these auditorium classrooms listening to some professor blah, blah, blah on about something I had no interest in. Mum said I absolutely could not quit. That was not an option. I needed to graduate. Then she said the thing that was to change the course of my life forever. What would you do if today was your birthday and you could do anything you wanted? I said, I'd go to Marshall Field's department store in Chicago and play with makeup. That's it, she said. You should be a makeup artist.
Yeah, Mom, right?
What is that? Where did that come from?
Right. And this was a long time ago. No one talked about passion. No one talked about, entrepreneurship. No one talked about anything. And she said, I'm sure there's a college somewhere. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a college that had it, but I found a college that let me make up my own major. Emerson College in Boston, which was a media college.
Yep.
And I just went to town, and that taught me to be an entrepreneur.
And so you were an artist. Makeup artists are artists.
Yes.
I benefit from them every single day. Thank God that they're here. But you didn't have becoming a creator of makeup anywhere on the radar.
No.
Okay.
No. I'd never. No. And when I was a kid, there's only two things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a mother, and I wanted to be a teacher. So I had no idea what my life would be.
All right. You're also one of those annoying people, if you don't mind me saying, that did utter the line and meant it, and it's come to be true, that goes home to their mum and dad and says, and we read this a lot, right? I've just met the man I'm going to marry. You said that immortal line, and it came true.
It was freaky. Well, first of all, I dated someone from 18 to 30. That's 12 years.
What about Tim?
Tim, very good. And we broke up. And I was devastated. I said, I'm going to be one of those old maid women that works. Mm-hmm. And then I went to dinner sad one night with my friend. She brought her friend Steven, and it was the most bizarre thing I ever experienced.
Tell us about, was it a spark? Was it an earthquake? Was it a bit of both?
Well, first of all, to all the single women out there, I had no makeup on. I probably had wet hair. I remember I had some awful red, jumpsuit that was, really popular then, that's back now in style, which is so funny. And I went to dinner, and we just had a lovely time. And the true story is, my friend said, where do you want to go? I mentioned 3 hot restaurants in New York, too far, too expensive. Stephen came over. She said, Stephen, where do you want to go? I swear to God, he mentioned the same 3 restaurants. It was just one of those weird things.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It
3
was
for 3.
3 for 3. And so I went home that night. I laid in bed staring at my ceiling, and I said, holy, the word you're not supposed to say. I just met the man I'm
Holy
gonna marry.
guacamole.
Holy guacamole. And my father asked me all these questions the next day.
I've got it here.
yeah.
It's page 77. So you go home. Bobbi goes home. She says, Dad, I just met the man I'm going to marry. I said, what's his name? Dad asked. Stephen. What does he do? I don't know. Is he Jewish? I don't know. What's his last name? I don't know.
And the next day I found out that he went to Harvard, so I said check. He was Jewish. I'd never dated a Jewish guy. I am. I said check. But then I found out his last name was Plofker.
Yeah.
But so I am now officially Bobbi Brown Plofker.
You are officially,
Yeah.
but you'll always be Bobbi Brown. And then, so things go all right. You've just been living with a bloke for 12 years, and then the rent goes up, and he says, move in with me, and that doesn't happen quite. And then you date him for a bit longer, and then you just don't want to go all in, but he's like, well, why wouldn't you go all in? And you said, look, I have trauma. Look, I'm hurt. I'm scarred. It's not easy. You don't understand. He says, well, maybe you should go back with the other guy for a while and just check it. Just check that he's not the one. And that was
honestly, that
good
really,
line.
yeah, it was a good thing on
Put
his
up or
part.
shut up.
Yeah.
Get out of Dodge, baby.
Oh yeah, no. He also, if he was here when he met me, he wanted this done.
Yeah.
You know, he's a businessman. He's like, no, I got to get this deal done.
Got to get the deal across the line. I love it. You never talk about the numbers, which is good. It's good.
Well, I
it's
got
good.
D's in math, so you know, I'm not very good.
No, I know. But the Estee Lauder sell was, you can carry on being Bobbi Brown. You will build this brand bigger. It will be better with our help. And you'll get paid a lot of money whilst doing that. There'll be incentives. There'll be bonuses. And when we pay you what we're going to pay you, you'll never have to work again. Who could possibly say no to that idea?
Right.
Interesting that you talk about the time period that you and Stephen took to make that decision. Can you just go back there in your mind in this moment?
Absolutely. So my husband called me and said, great news, we've agreed on all the terms. This is going to happen. However, there's one thing that we need to complete. I said, what is it? He said, they would like you to sign a 25-year non-compete. I never heard of a non-compete, didn't even think of 25. And I counted on my fingers. I said, no big deal. I'm not going to want to work in my 60s. So we signed it. But I don't really dwell on anything. I make really quick decisions.
Yeah.
We both do.
So just let's go back a little bit before the heads of terms had been agreed by your genius lawyer husband.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't going to do the deal at all on the way to the dinner. And then something changed during the dinner. But still, you weren't really going to do it. So you and Stephen arrive home. Was there chat in the cab on the way home? When does the sort of mindset begin to shift towards selling as opposed to staying?
Well, I really liked Leonard. Liked Leonard. I really trusted him when he said you would have complete autonomy. I didn't know what autonomy was at the time, but complete autonomy, and you could do what you love, which is being a mom and all that. I believed him. So we started thinking, and by the way, we had business partners that we started the company with that we did not. It was really a tough relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
there was love, there was respect, but it was you can't have two captains of a ship. It does not work.
It was. I'm not gonna. I didn't really write all the dirt in this book because that's not the person I am.
Also, yeah.
I don't like to hurt people's feelings.
Also, they haven't got a book that they can write. So
anyways, it was rough. It was rough.
Okay, but things changed very quickly, and like you say in the book, once you made a decision, you made a decision. And who doesn't want financial security?
Right.
Money isn't everything, but it buys you confidence, and confidence is everything quite a lot of the time. But having said that, your granddad would have said to you, I tried retiring and that didn't work.
Right.
So what age did he retire and what happened there?
Well, Papa Sam eventually, he must have been in his 70s when somehow, I don't remember the whole story, how he closed his car dealership and stopped working. I think he probably went bankrupt. Who knows the whole story. But then he worked for someone else and they kind of forced him out. Excuse me. And then he realized he missed working. So he got another job and he sent out these flyers that said, it's Sam, I'm back. I tried to retire, but I didn't like it. And he went back to work in his 80s.
So he said, I'm unretiring and I have a deal for you today.
Right.
Something
Exactly.
Did he really star in his own TV adverts?
Oh, he was always on TV. Yeah,
That's
he
so
absolutely
funny.
did.
That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it was total. Yeah.
That was the thing, on the local, what do they call them, syndicated stations.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Often people who own their businesses would do their own ads. I quite like that.
I wish there was some way that I could find it. Like, I know, they don't save things like they do now, but that would
around.
that would be amazing.
And somewhere along the line, you got into the hotel business.
When I left the brand and I called my husband, you better come in. I either quit or got fired. He came in and he first told me how happy he was that I'd be available to see him. And that was really sweet. And he says, and I bought a building. I would like very much that you work on it with me. And I said, that's nice. He goes, what about turning it into a hotel? And we had never once said we should do a hotel. And I just said, that sounds fun. So we have the George Hotel in Montclair, New Jersey, which, by the way, if you walk in there, you'll think you're in London. It's I'm an Anglophile.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm a nutcase. Like my biggest.
Pass me the Anglophile, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My biggest regret in life is that I never got to meet the Queen.
Oh, well, we have
Seriously.
another Queen, and had a meeting with her yesterday, and you'd love her. She's one of your. You talk about superwomen in the book.
Yeah.
Women that you have had experience of, and the way they treat other
Right,
people.
yeah.
Susan Sarandon, for example.
Right.
Just give us a little list of your superwomen. Will
I
you?
mean, Michelle Obama, Susan Sarandon, Diane Keaton.
Tell us why, though. There are reasons why.
There's women that are unapologetically themselves.
Yeah.
They're kind, they're nice, they're tough. Mm-hmm. You could be tough and you could be nice.
Yes.
That is a lesson I want everyone to know, because there's a lot of men out there that are really tough and not nice.
Yeah, and they think it's okay because it's okay.
They think it's okay because it's okay. It's not okay, and it just means you're insecure.
Right, so what about Cindy Crawford, for example?
Cindy Crawford is also...
So what does she do?
What does she do? Cindy Crawford's amazing. What do you mean?
In the book, there's that story about her having her hair done.
Oh, this was amazing. Here's one of the biggest supermodels in the world. We're at a shoot. I did her makeup. A hairdresser came in that neither of us knew. He did a terrible job. She looked in the mirror. She said, "Thank you so much for coming." He left. She said, "Give me the brush." And she redid her hair. She didn't yell at him, throw the brush like other supermodels have been known to do. She was kind and nice.
Yeah. You take a sip of water there. Thank you so much. Susan Sarandon, you thought she was ignoring you, and she was, but for good reason.
God, you really read the book and you have a great memory. Susan, first time I did her makeup, her head was down the whole time because she was busy writing letters to women in prison.
I mean, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
It's so good, isn't it?
Right.
It's so good. Would you say that, well, you would say because it's in the book. What a stupid question. Going on the Today Show was a thing, wasn't it? That changed. There's lots of pivot points in the book. Tipping points, actually, not pivot points. There's a few pivot points, but there's more tipping points. It's always getting better and better and better and better until it doesn't, then it falls off a cliff. And it's great because that's ripping the plaster off. Get rid of it. Move on. It's not working. Let's part company. You live your life. I'll live mine. Let's blaze another trail. But the Today Show was a thing. Tell us about the Today Show.
The Today Show in the U.S. was the thing. And I had been on once only, and I was at a book signing. And this really nice older woman in the back of the room asked me some makeup question. I went over there. She grabbed my hand and she said, I've seen you on the Today Show. You're fantastic. I said, thank you. She said, is there anything else you want to do with your life? I said, you know what? I'd like to be a regular on the Today Show. She said, honey, Jeff Zucker is my grandson. He was the executive producer. I got on the show on Monday and I became the Today Show beauty expert for 14 years.
And you asked to be a regular, didn't you?
Oh, I did. He came down and he said, what do you want? And I said, I'd love to be a regular. He said, what does that mean to you? I said, once a month. You're on once a month. He came down the next day and the next month. He said, now what do you want? And I said, I'd love a title. He said, a title? What title? I said, I looked up on the screen and I saw other people were editors. I said, can I be the beauty editor? He said, okay, you're the beauty editor. He never came down the third month. I forgot to ask him for money. But 14 years I was on the show. And, it was before Instagram. It was before social media. It put me on the map.
You were an influencer in your time.
And I never talked about the product or sold it. I wanted to be respected as a beauty journalist that told people how to wear makeup.
Yeah, you're like an agony aunt for makeup, wasn't it? That's what you were.
But when people saw the show, they ran to the counter and said, Bobbi used a taupe shadow. Yeah. What is it? And in my old line, the colors were called what they were. So if you asked for a taupe shadow, they knew
And
what
the
it was.
thing is about that, if you had secretly, been trying to secret squirrel some sales away, it wouldn't have worked because people don't see through it. They just don't connect with it
Right.
because there's a even if it's it can be an iron wall, it can be the Great Wall of China, or it can be the thinnest film of cellophane. There's something in between what's going on and what seems to be going on, or what they want you to think is going on, and what's actually going on. And that's why you came from being a makeup artist to a creator, to a salesperson, to a businesswoman, to an advisor, to a storyteller. Because your book is the same. It's as good as your makeup because the way you've written it's amazing.
Oh, and by the way, when my Today Show gig ended after 14 years, and I got the call, we're moving different direction, whatever the, people said, I got fired.
It's the American no.
Exactly. All right, I got fired again.
I can't believe anybody would ever fire you, ever.
14 years, though, okay? And
Yeah.
so you know what I did? I texted my friend Elvis Duran in America, who's the Elvis Duran, you're the Elvis Duran of the UK, I'm guessing. And I said, can I be the beauty editor of the Elvis Duran show? And he said, okay. So I had another
Off you
gig.
go again.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you're not like making Oprah up. You're on Oprah as a guest. Now, you can sit in the back of a limo, a bulletproof limo with Jill Biden. You can go to the White House all the time. You can make up Naomi Campbell on an award-winning front cover of Vogue magazine. You can do all that, right? But then appearing on Oprah as a guest, that would be the pinch me moment.
Probably 14 times.
Yeah,
maybe 20. And by the way, I wish Oprah still had her show, because I used to go on the show once, and my book was a bestseller.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't happen anymore.
I know why she doesn't do it, because she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But it'd be great if she did it again, wouldn't it?
But she's reinvented herself and has this really great life and has her own media, does it her way, just like a lot of people in the U.S. are doing that are kind of either losing their job or aging out. They start their own mini media thing. And it's
and that's what you've started to do.
Kind of.
Yeah, and there's so many great stories in the book. And then, by the way, they're every paragraph. You don't have to wait a chapter for one. And other people stretch this into like 10 memoirs, right? But you're just all in there. It's the way you roll, isn't it? So let's get on with it.
Yeah.
There's that great story towards the end of the book when an influencer, a modern day influencer, tries out one of your products, and it's watched you blink and it's already been watched by 13 million people overnight, and she didn't get the product.
No, she trashed it and said, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and you thought, well, okay, but fair enough, that's what they do. That's what I used to do, not trashing products, but I was an influencer. She's an influencer now. So now what? So what now? What?
Right. So I went back to the office. My son, who said, "All right, we've got to film some educational things," because she clearly didn't know how to use it. It's the product is called What the Foundation, or we call it WTF. I couldn't have named it that in the old company, but no one said no to me. And it's the best thing. And your producer came in and said, "I wear it every day."
Yeah, and she wants some super hacks from you before you leave.
We got her, and I went in and I kind of said, "All right, guys, not everyone's going to love this foundation. If you like full coverage, you won't like it. But this is how you use it." Because she was using it with globs on each hand and put it on, and she had some weird base underneath, and the whole thing pilled.
It's not going
to
work.
It was awful. And then I finished it, and I said, all right, I have one more. And I did it just as a joke. I said, all right, I'm a makeup artist. I learn every day. I learn this new trick. I want to try it. And I reached my hands in the makeup, and I made two big blobs in my hand, and I put it on my face, and I just started laughing, and I stopped. I just did it as a joke. I didn't know my son was putting it up. That got 4 million like instantly overnight, and we quadrupled our business. We ran out of product again, and it was a moment. And all these women now were saying, Bobbi Brown clapped back. I didn't know what a clapback was, but I clapped back. And last year I was at my dear friend's restaurant in London, and he said, "Oh, there's an influencer here." She was there. I got up.
No way.
I walked over. I said, "Meredith, hi, Bobbi Brown." She couldn't have been nicer. I just like to cut through things right away. And she said, "Oh, my mother loves your makeup." Not a word about the TikTok.
Yeah. She's moved on. You've moved on.
We've moved on.
And that's how we roll.
Yeah.
We know how this ends. This thing apparently doesn't end well.
Right, exactly.
We end 6 feet under. That's the deal. That's the only thing we do.
Yeah.
There is a finish line, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So let's not waste any time between now now whenever that particular thing happens. Jones Road, right? So you talked to Joe Malone, who'd been through a very similar corporate experience to
with
you.
The same people.
Not as long,
right?
But similar. Joe's been on the show. Love Joe.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
Joe. She has
a vodka line now.
Oh my God!
I haven't tried it yet. I'm gonna have to look for it.
The whole story about her smelling do you know her story about smelling the leak in her house?
Yes.
She realized she could smell unbelievable.
Yeah.
You talked to her, you talked about other people, and then you and Steve said, let's go again, and that's what we're talking about now. And then the new company's called Jones Road, and we all love the name Jones Road because it's so cool. How did it happen, Bobbi?
Well, I needed to launch this new company in the middle of the pandemic, a week before the presidential election, on the day my 25-year non-compete was up.
Yeah.
You couldn't talk me out of it. Yeah. Everyone tried. And my husband said to me one day, if you don't have the name, because you can't really get copyrights for names, the brilliant names you think of. He said, if we don't find a name today, you will not be able to launch on time. And we're driving to the Hamptons. My head's down because he likes me to look at Waze and Google Maps. God forbid we're 5 minutes late, even though we have nowhere to go. That's my lovely husband. And I looked down and I saw Jones Road. And I said, Jones Road Beauty. It just popped in my head. He said, I like it. It reminded me of a bespoke British brand that had been sitting on someone's floor, and they asked me to reinvent it because, again, I'm an Anglophile. I'm like, I know there's a Jones Road somewhere in London, so I can open a store one of these days. And I've been looking. And it just, I couldn't use Brown because I sold my name, but I could use Jones. So Jones Road just celebrated 5 years.
Congratulations.
And we're at Liberty here if anyone wants to go see it in person.
Okay, so the beginning of that chapter or chapters started here, which was the day after you got fired. For the first time in nearly 40 years, page 229, I had nothing to do and nowhere to go. No driver to take me to my office in the morning. Fred kept driving but lost his biggest client. That was your driver. No meetings to attend, no products to create or discuss, nothing to promote. Our house was quiet. I had no kids at home to feed, to bathe and mother. I was uncertain about the future and what I wanted to do. I've put there in the book, wow. Give us a bit more on this, please.
Yeah, it was a tough time. I mean, when this first happened, the first emotion I had was relief because all the problems that I was having at work was
gone.
So, then I started to get angry and really pissed off, and then I got really sad, and then I got anxious, like all those emotions, and, it was almost like silence around me because I was so busy. I was on a treadmill. And so I'm like, all right, I better get up. I better go exercise. I better make phone calls. And I wasn't at liberty to call anyone that ever worked for me. They were told they couldn't talk to me. So could you imagine going through this and not calling my posse? I mean, these people I hired and stayed with me for...
And the habit energy that goes with that.
Right. Yeah. So it was a tough time. I worked on myself. I saw a life coach that helped me kind of sort out my thoughts because I didn't want to go into therapy and analysis, but it helped me sort out my thoughts and get things done and move forward. I exercised, I talked to people, and I just started doing projects, to keep myself busy. And so it was fun. I probably was a little manic at the time because I didn't know what to do with the energy. But, little by little, I started rebuilding and realizing I was not the real Bobbi Brown when I was a corporate person. I was not. I was trying to be something, and I realized I don't need to do that anymore.
You taught that your chest tightened up a little bit.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's the hero's journey.
Right.
You have to go the further you go, the more you've got a chance of getting back to yourself. Right. It's really weird, and you think it's the opposite. You think you'll dip your toe in the water. No, because then you're neither one thing nor the other.
Right.
If you're gonna go to space and look at the blue planet, get as far away as you can and see its true beauty from a godlike perspective, and that's what I think our job is with our own lives. But you've got to come back. Right. You've got to re-enter. Right.
And it's scary. I mean, a lot of people now stop me that have read the book and said, "I'm going through my own thing." This beautiful Indian woman came into Liberty's yesterday. She said, "I just lost whatever political." Position she had. Yeah. She'd been in it for like 13 years. She goes, "I don't know what to do." Yeah. She goes, "But I read your book." and I know I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
yeah.
Because people come to see you at where is it? You're at here?
Liberty here.
Liberty here, and wherever you may be at your own shops now that are popping up all over the place again. Thank God. And they come because of the makeup. But they want to talk to you about life.
Right.
It's the same when I leave the studio here. Sometimes there are people outside, love the show, and then blah.
Right.
And you go, fair enough.
Yeah.
I get that.
Right. I mean, I somehow raised 3 kids with my husband and a lot of help and worked. People want to know, how did you do that? How did you do that? How did you deal with the corporation for so many years? Yeah. How did you deal with loss? How did you deal with your mother's illness? Like, okay, I've been through it.
There's a chapter called Family Affair. It's a family thing, isn't it? Now, which is great.
You know what? It's great, but it's, we had to work hard on it. You know, my son is the CEO now of the company. His wife, my daughter-in-law, is the head of brand. And, you can talk to people you hire differently than you could talk to your family. Sure. So I had to kind of learn.
But the trust is different.
There's
different level.
Total trust. You know?
You'd swap that because of the trust. You'd swap anything for the trust, wouldn't you?
And honestly, they're the best people for the job.
Yeah, and who does that sound like?
Right.
Oh, it sounds like Estee Lauder's family, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's, Bobbi Brown. Bobbi Brown is amazing, says Val. Val is one of our greatest listeners. She's 70 years old. She looks 50. She looks 40. Right. She's a designer. She's a carer. She's a Wonder Woman. You would love her. Claire says, I'm a big Bobbi Jones fan. Bobbi Brown, Jones Road fan. I love that the products are toxins free. Book ordered. Sounds just like the inspiration I need right now. That reminds me of a bit in the book that I've not alluded to, which is when you went into the lifestyle business for a while, but it wasn't your jam.
It wasn't my jam, and I really tried.
No, but it's important to go, oh, that doesn't taste good.
Right.
But I wouldn't know until I tasted it. I need to go back to what I love. AJ says, loving Bobbi Brown's story. Just bought the book, Chris. Thorpe says, oh my God, Jones Road changed my skin, changed my confidence. You know me, I'm light on the makeup front, but Jones Road is a revolution. Miracle Balm, cannot travel without it. Thank you, Bobbi. Miracle Balm is called Miracle Balm because you looked in the mirror and said, this is a miracle.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Because I'm so sorry I can't say certain words on the show.
I wish you could, but you can't.
You could imagine, well, I didn't look very good during the pandemic. Yeah. And one day I put this thing on my face and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't look like, anymore. And I said, this is a miracle. And I started giving little bottles of it to my friends. This was during the pandemic, and they'd call me and say, like Harry Potter or whoever it was, please, sir, can I have some more? Who was that character?
And is it an oil, Oliver? Is it an oil?
It's not. It's a balm,
right.
And it's a hot product that's poured, and it kind of it's like a balm, and it's got different colors in it. Wow. So you use it for tints, for shimmers, for blush. It gets rid of, nothing gets rid of lines.
Wow.
But it really softens things.
It's an atomic balm.
It is. It's really good. You could use it on your skin, on everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just before you go, and that's 40 minutes, by the way. Gone like that. You're brilliant. I love you. I really love you. I think you're great for the human.
So can we be friends?
Yeah, of course. But you're great for the human race. It's really important. The no makeup look. Can you just was there a eureka moment as far as that's concerned?
I can't say yes. It was eureka. It was just, I tried to do the other kind of makeup that was the norm, and it didn't look good. I didn't think it looked good.
And other people were doing that anyway.
Everyone was doing
it.
Yeah, and I didn't say, oh, I want to be disruptive. Yeah. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to just do this. I just started doing it. And, when I would do makeup, I'm like, well, why don't I make the foundation actually match the skin? Because it didn't back then. Why don't I make the blush the color that's easier that you don't have to blend? You just put it on, it looks good. Those are simple things. But they were not simple because no one else thought of it. So I just started doing that thing, and it became the no makeup look.
All right, before you go, I've got to ask you this. Men and makeup.
Yes.
For men who want a bit of help, Man Cup.
Right, yes.
What are you saying?
I say, first of all, skincare. Like men, put your, how many men don't wear sunscreen? Come on.
All men.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So you need sunscreen, you need moisturizer, and get your skin in better condition by what you put in your body.
Right.
That's number one. Do I think men need makeup? I don't. Do I think some men like to use? My dad, who's 90 years old uses a bronzing gel that I made, and he mixes that with moisturizer, and he said it just makes him look better.
Yeah, and he feels better.
He feels better. So to me, it's whatever works for you.
Would you do a line, a men's line?
No, because with the products I made, and the packaging is unisex, so
Right.
a lot of companies repackage the exact same formula for guys,
Right.
because they put it in a package that looks more masculine. I don't need to do that.
Have you got any funky names on the horizon? Because you're a funky name gal.
Well, I named, it's funny. We now there's more people having discussions of what things should be named, and I sit on my hands because I just want to say no. This is the name. I let everyone pop in, but. One of my favorite names besides what the foundation is Just Enough Tinted Moisturizer, because that's what it does.
That's so good.
We have an eyeshadow that's called Just a Sec, because that's how long it takes to put on. And
why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
This is good, isn't it?
It's easy.
Yeah, we're talking about cats earlier because it's Global Cat Day today. Are you a cat person?
I'm a dog person.
You're a dog. I'm a dog person.
Yeah.
Jane's a cat person.
Yeah.
And you either are a cat or dog person. Some people say we got both. We don't believe you.
Yeah.
It's like saying Beatles or the Stones. No. The answer's Beatles, by the way. It's just the Beatles.
Yes.
I know you know Mick and all that kind of stuff, which is good. But we're talking about cats today and the colours of cats. And maybe cats would lend themselves to colour. Because you get blue cats.
I've never seen a blue cat.
Yeah, well, I don't think anybody has really, but they're still called blue. And then we talked about lipstick and blue cat lipstick. Then we talked about kit stick, but no, that's all I've got for you.
I think
I got
there's
nothing else.
Kitty. What's that like character? Something Kitty. There's makeup that's
There
like
is.
little. Well, I forget who the character is.
Who else is any good?
Who else is any good?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
In life?
who else is any good?
Oh, a lot of people
When you last
are
talked
great.
to Oprah.
A really long time ago.
Right.
A really long time
Okay.
ago.
Anybody else that you?
Oprah's best friend, Gayle King. I was on her show.
Yeah.
Big fan. There's so many great people. I also feel doing this book, I've kind of reached out to my list, which are FOBs, which are friends of Bobby, and so.
FOBs.
But
I wanted one of those. Before
you're on the list. I'm putting you on the list.
FOB.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's like the greatest 48 hours of my life.
And Kris Jenner, who I've never met, who's always been very supportive, she was on the list. She posted my book. It just makes you feel good, and you realize all your. When you do something and you look back and you realize that all your hard work and niceness, it really does matter.
I know you talk about your age in the book a lot, so you won't mind telling me, how old are you right now?
I am 68 years old. Which
You
I
are
can't,
not. I think
Yes.
62.
No, that sounds so young, 62, but I'm 68 and I've never shot. I don't have anything in my face. I don't do it.
Wow, you're 68.
And I am.
Well, still, 68 not out. Plenty to go, man.
I don't feel my age.
What do you think? Give me the next 10 years.
I'm going to still be doing Jones Road. I mean, the company's not for sale. I know someone's going to give us an offer we can't refuse, but it will have to be the right offer. It's not about the money.
You might sign with a 25-minute non-compete, but not a 25-year non-compete.
Yeah, I mean, if Louis Vuitton called me, I'd love to wrap my packages in Louis Vuitton leather, in case you know anyone of them too.
I'm sure you're on the radar. Yeah, we can make a few calls. Absolutely, 100%. How's the Hamptons?
The Hamptons is really great when everyone leaves.
Right.
Yeah, it's really crowded.
Okay, was that a dream to have a house? That
No.
story when you got the big check.
Yeah.
About what should we spend it on?
Yeah.
You just went to the Hamptons, your favourite place in the Hamptons, and bought something to eat or something?
Oh, yeah. That was the most expensive. It still is. Loaves and fishes. We call it loans and finances.
Right.
And, we said we want some of that lobster salad. It was $100 a pound.
Yeah.
And we said, can we have an eighth of a pound? And when we sold the company, we went and bought 1 pound.
Yeah. And you thought about buying other things, but you thought, we just don't want anything. We're fine.
We had what we wanted.
Yeah.
We decided to send.
Enough is enough.
We sent our family and our nieces and nephews to college and a few strangers, and that's the nice thing.
You can buy cut flowers, and by the way, big shout out to all the florists out there, or you can grow your own from seed. And growing your own from seed is a much more preferable thing to do, isn't it?
It's good to be practical.
Bobbi Brown, you blow me away. Aww. Honestly, if you want to read a book, everybody, that will just lift your spirits every single page, then you've got to get this book in your life. It's so great.
And how do I tell my husband? Because he's going to say, how did it go? And I'm going to say, great. How is he going to be able to watch this?
You can watch it on YouTube.
Okay, good. I'm
forever.
Steven.
Forever on YouTube.
Okay, good. Because
I want to meet Steven.
Oh, yeah.
He's a man.
Oh, well, we're having drinks next time I come in.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. I love you. Thank you. Let's say for Bobbi Brown, everyone. The one, the only, blimmin' Bobbi Brown. That's amazing. Well, I don't know how to follow that. Yeah, God take me now. From a radio point of view, we've interviewed everybody on the show, but that was as good as it gets.